Are Latina moms easier on their boys than on their girls?
My mom was definitely not that hard on me.
Our kids are calling us out.
This is so unfair.
Papa, yo te defiendo, don't worry.
Double standard parenting is nothing new.
You're talking about sex.
Of course I'm talking about sex.
Okay.
Omar, do you favor the girls?
I used to be more demanding, estricto con Emiliano because he deserved it.
I totally think we were treated differently.
Hold on, Mika. Hold on for a sec.
Let's buckle our seatbelts.
Men are always going to be men. Women are going to be women.
But that's not an excuse.
Yes.
Wait, I knew I wanted to use my gavel. Oh! All right, girls, are we ready today? Mira lo que traigo.
So. Oh,
Look. No.
Yes.
I am not letting you hold it.
Mom,
because
you
you're
shouldn't be careful.
And you give me my gavel. Give it to me.
Si no lo entrego, no me dejan sentarme.
All right, I know I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna stash it over here
Oh, my
just
God.
for now. It's Family Day, and today we're talking about double standard parenting in Latin families. And by the way, this is not just a Latin family thing, people.
Oh, no?
Why do we raise our children differently? And how does it affect them as adults? Are girls raised to take care of men and boys raised to be taken care of as men?
I think the relationship between mother and son is very different than the one we have with the girl. You happen to have boy and girl. I happen to have boy and girl. And the differences for me are clear, but at the same time, what is the standard? I mean, what is it expected?
That's the point of the show. We're all trying to talk about what it is that we could do better. Your children were closer in age, all right? They're only 2 years apart.
2 years apart, yeah.
Mine were 14 years apart. That already makes a big difference. Not just the boy-girl, but the fact that he was already 14 practically when Emily came on the scene. He was like an only child, and then along comes the baby girl, the miracle baby, and all this. So that was some dynamics. Personally, me, I was raised by my mom and my grandma. My dad was always either away at war or away at boot camp or away as a prisoner in Cuba after Bay of Pigs.
That's something.
So I was raised that women did everything. There were no gender roles because the women in my family had to do all the roles. So I grew up thinking there's nothing I can't do. Like, I'm supposed to do everything. But we were inspired to bring this to the table by Flaca's daughter, Lina. While her brother Loren was home from college, he literally did nothing around the house except make coffee. The injustice of it all was too much to bear. Welcome, Lina. Joining us from his dorm is Lorencito.
Hey, Lauren.
Papa, yo te defiendo, don't worry. Just sit down.
Oh, you see? We're already starting with this thing. All right.
I'm not crazy.
You know, we have you both here at the table. It's important because as parents, we are all flying by the seat of our pants. We try not to repeat the things that hurt us as kids when we were growing up. And that's why we want to hear from you.
Growing up, I feel like my dad was always way harder on Loren.
I can back that up.
Yeah,
I can
and
back
my
that up.
mom was way harder on me. My mom always babied Loren, and my dad was always like, my princess, my princess. You don't have to do anything, Lorencito. Do it for the princess.
So your dad was more the traditionalist.
Yeah, my dad was definitely more like, he put more emphasis on like the macho side of things, of like helping them with like bags and not letting them do like all that stuff, to the point where like M knows, because he would try and like help M carry groceries and they would almost get in a fist fight. And then my mom was definitely not that hard on me, but I don't know if I would prefer them to do anything different.
I give Loren that side, you know, but in the past 4 years, my dad hasn't been there. So it's been one-sided, so that's when the build-up started
And
happening.
he hasn't been there.
He hasn't been there.
Lorencito has a totally different personality than Lina.
Okay, when Lorencito
Lina is
comes
strong.
home from college, do you have him clean his room? Do
He's
the
on vacation.
dishes?
He's on vacation.
Oh, okay.
When's Lina's vacation?
Oh, Lina is always on vacation.
Oh,
Oh.
Last year, when he came back in the pandemic and the three of us were together, I was like, he may be going back in a month, so let me take advantage. Déjame mimarlo. I want him to miss me when he goes away.
is Lina harder on you, Loren, than your mom is?
Yes, I'm way more scared of Lena than my mom.
Okay, why is that?
Because if I'm not doing chores or like helping out around the house, my mom isn't the one to tell anything. It's Lena that comes into my room and she's like, hey, like go feed the dogs, like getting angry at me and stuff.
This mostly started happening this year because I would notice it and I was like, okay, it's time for us to start putting a foot down because this is so unfair because I do it year round.
Yeah.
And then he gets home, it would be Saturday. I'd be like, can you feed the dogs? He'd be like, I did it yesterday. I'm like, I did it the whole year. He's like, you're right. But it isn't until I say it that he's like, you're right. So I think you were leaving out with your friends or something and you walk out, my mom's like, oh, Loren, can you please feed the dogs? He's like, I can't, I have to go, I'm late. He closes the door and she starts going, I don't know what to do. He doesn't feed the dogs. I don't know what to tell him. Like, he was standing right there 5 seconds ago. Why are you ranting to me? Tell him.
Okay, this is when I realized, okay, I'm doing something totally wrong.
Why do you think you haven't imposed the same standards on both of them?
I don't know. I didn't think I saw that growing up. My grandma was a spectacular housewife. Like, you know, like she was always home. She waited for me from school. She would baby, you know, my grandfather. This was my example, Mama. I didn't have it with my mother, but that's what I saw in my grandma.
We need to unpack this a little bit. There were separate chores that you would have them do.
Both of our rooms could have been super messy, but she would only tell me, Lena, you can't leave your house until the room is cleaned.
And why?
I would think, okay, Lena is the girl. When she marries, she needs to be the one guiding this ship. And I think I was more concerned with Lena because I always think a woman is going to help Lorencito pick up the room. I
Ay,
don't know
pero
why.
prima,
Because
that's
I
not
think-
good.
But that's how I grew up. That's what they did with me.
There are certain things that are different in raising girls and raising boys.
Different conversations, specifically around sex and like your body. The way that sex was introduced as a topic was a lot more fear for me than I'm sure naive. You know what I mean? And I'm sure girls experience, I mean, I don't know about you guys,
I feel like
but
with dads, what I've noticed a lot is that when their sons are leaving to college, they're like, go get with girls.
Yeah.
Go. Oh my
Here's
God.
condoms.
How many girls did you get with tonight? Like, oh, here's some condoms. Here's this. And then with their daughters, they're like, you're not allowed to touch a man until you're 30 years old.
Loren, were you ever told not to have sex?
No.
Were you ever told not to have sex?
No.
You weren't told by her that you needed to wait?
No, she said I needed to wait, but not that I couldn't.
Did they tell you you needed to wait?
No, they didn't.
Were
They just
you,
said,
was
"Wear
your
a condom."
father, on the other hand, more like celebratory of your conquest?
I don't know if we ever like fist bumped each other about it, but he didn't care.
When I spoke to Naib about it, my take with him was, okay, besides all the myriad of sexual diseases that there are, you have to be aware that if you get a girl pregnant, it is going to be your responsibility to maintain that child and her mother for the rest of your life, and you have to be in her life. You can't just father a child and dip. It is a big responsibility to bring a child into the world. So make sure that you don't expect the girl to be the one to protect herself. You are as responsible as the woman in this situation.
I worry more about Lorenzo than Lena, and I think like sometimes it's a Friday and I text him, Loren, remember, like I text him and he's like, Mom, stop it.
Did you have a sex talk with Loring, or was it your dad, Loring, that had the sex talk?
It was my dad. It was my
I
dad.
never got
And
sex
when?
talk.
When did he give you the
where's
sex talk?
my sex talk?
Circa 8th grade or something.
8th grade. And with Lena, I don't know why I trust Lena with so many things that I just look at her and I
You
feel
never
like
even brought it up to me.
No. Mama, I'm sorry and thank you.
But why are you sorry?
You made me realize that I hadn't done a lot of things that maybe other women out there watching this show, and they also realize we're the one that create
This dynamic.
between, you know, man and woman, wife and husband, and we don't realize it.
Double standard parenting is nothing new, by the
Yeah.
way. Okay, we learn how to be parents from our parents and what to do and not to do. So to get to the bottom of this, we're also bringing Flaca's dad and brother to the table. My brother-in-law, Jose, or Papo, as we call him, typically shies away from the spotlight, but we couldn't have this conversation without him. He was only in his 30s when his wife passed away. He raised Lily and her brother Michi as a single father until he remarried his current wife Patricia in 1996, and they had their daughter Jenny. We've talked about the situation with Lily's mom.
It's a very difficult situation, especially when you are in a communist country like Cuba.
Yeah.
I didn't have any other family. Every one of my family have left the country.
You were mother and father at the same time.
I know.
Right? Because my mother, even when she was alive, I myself, I wouldn't be able to connect with her half of the time.
Yeah.
Because, you know, she was mentally ill and
Yeah.
the things she would say had nothing to do with reality.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So that was very hard for all of us. And especially, I think, for my brother.
Yeah, but I remember being very close to my mother and,
Me too.
and realizing that she was ill and
And
everything.
realizing that she was
Yeah,
ill.
at a very young age.
Was there a difference in how you raised or treated Michi and how you raised and treated Lily?
I just play by the rules of the time, but for her, I had a problem. She was 12 years old.
I was already almost 6 feet tall at, 12.
So what happened that men that approached Lily were 30, 40 years old. I have to talk to her and tell her, look, you have to be careful because they have the experience that you don't have.
He took me to a bar and kind of showed me, this is what happens here. Look at the drinks. Look, that woman just got up to go to the bathroom and anyone can put something in her drink. So never leave the drink alone.
Yeah.
I think you were harder on me.
I think you have to because women are more innocent than men. Absolutely. When it comes to sex at that age,
Yeah.
believe me, men see a lot of things
In the street.
in the street that usually women will find out later.
Wasn't it rite of passage also in Cuba that when your son gets to a certain age, the men of the family were almost encouraged to help him lose his virginity?
With a professional.
That's a real thing.
Una sexo servidora. Yeah,
Did they
you
do
would-
that to you?
Yes. Was a different time. But yeah, that was
That was common.
That was the
yeah, that was
mentality.
very common.
They did it to you because you're the oldest one. How about to Tio Emilio?
They did.
They did also.
As well.
Same thing.
The experience is not a good one.
Yeah, it's not a
No.
good one.
You are a kid.
That prevalence of having a man take his son to a professional to have sex for the first time, that's got to color your view of women.
You know what it teaches me? Don't do it to your son.
So your advice is prepare them, talk to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to prepare them.
What did you tell him?
Him?
He busted me.
He busted you?
My junior year,
Should I cover my ears?
It's the table. You can try to cover it. You'll hear it anyway.
If it's Michi, you better cover your ears.
Oh boy. Look at Lorencito's face. He's very interested in this combo.
there was no one at the house.
Uh-oh.
And we went to the bedroom and we didn't go there to pray.
Yeah.
Like half an hour later, my dad comes. I heard him, so I get dressed, let's go outside. And my dad was going, who, that's my son.
Not really like that. Because let me tell you something. This is the problem. You see kids pregnant at a very early age.
So was that important for you to teach Lily?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We are very open.
Did you come to talk to your dad when you decided to be sexually active?
Yes. I started going out with someone that was 10 years older than me.
What?
And I remember people.
You would kill me.
Oh, I would kill you.
What about if Loring dated an older woman?
I would kill her. So when I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy is older, I was already graduated from high school and everything. I told my father, I am gonna get to the point where I'm gonna lose my virginity. And I remember him telling me, whoa, I don't know what to tell you about that. And I'm like, well, I'm just letting you know.
I think at that age, she can think for herself.
The thing is, if I tell you, no, don't have the sex, you are not going to have it. When hormones kick in,
you're
they
right.
kick in.
Yep.
I don't care if you are a man,
Or woman.
it's going to happen.
There are things that are different. For a guy, when his son has a lot of women, it's like, hey, my son